Yes, I would like to ask Mr. Boccieri, we heard Mr. Renacci's, his background, and I'd like to know what your background is. We know he ran a business and knows how to make payroll. Let's hear your background.
Well, the question was about my record. I have
one more time.
My parents were both college teachers. They worked their way through college. They were one of the only in their family to go to college. My grandparents arrived here in America with nothing but the crumbs of food in their pockets and the clothes in their suitcase. My grandpa worked as a carpenter and a coal miner. My other grandpa was a steel worker. Worked 16-hour days. Worked to put my parents through college. And you know, I have two brothers. One's a chemist and a pharmacist. The other is works in the military. He's got 10 years now in the military. I went to school on an academic and baseball scholarship. I ended up graduating with a baseball degree in modern economics. But beyond that, I went played one season for a semi-pro team, and then I got a job working in the House of Representatives as a legislative aide. After that, I signed up and went into the military. I was stationed at Little Rock, Arkansas. I worked on several treaties that the United States is involved in. I became involved with aviation as a C-130 pilot. I spent 2 years training to become a C-130 pilot. Went through survival school, spent 16 years in the military now. Been all over the world. Been in 60 different countries, 60 different nations. And my friends, let me just say this. It just takes one trip outside the borders of our country to understand how good we have it. And whether I was flying our wounded and fallen soldiers out of Baghdad or delivering rice to people in Africa that didn't know if they're going to be alive from one day to the next, our country has been blessed with a lot. And you know, that has shaped and fashioned me as a person, has grounded me as a person to know that we have a country, we have a government that is worth putting everything on the line for. And believe me, let me tell you that how hard it was leaving 3 days after my only son was born to go serve on my last rotation over in Iraq and Afghanistan. Very difficult. But there are people, and you ought to be very proud of the men and women who are wearing the uniform, because they serve this nation with distinction and honor. Whether you agree with these wars or not that we're in, they're there because our country asked them to go. They're there because country passed them. They're there because our country passed them away. Yeah, and after 16 years of service in the military, I got off active duty and I was going to go fly for the airlines. I decided to run for state representative, state senator, and now I find myself in the United States Congress. So that's my history, and I appreciate you asking that background. Thank you.
Yeah. With all that wonderful history, why are you voting to destroy our country?
I would disagree with you, sir. We're investing in our country, in the greatest asset, and that's you, the people.
I've been studying this for 35 years, and I know what's going on. I'm a 92-year-old disabled decorated veteran of World War II.
Thank you, sir.
And the only thing that I don't want to thank you, I want my country back. And the Democratic Party is destroying it.
So listen, let me just ask, can you direct this question to me? Move on. This country is not Democrats or Republicans. This country is not conservative or liberal. We're all in this together. This is about America. And I liken this to being married 13 years. I've been married, my wife and I have been blessed. We're having our 5th child this year. Been married for 13 years. We may argue and fight about and disagree about how we get to the party. No, you need to take this exit ramp. No, you need to go this route. But you know what? Democrats, Republicans, we may argue, but we always wind up at the party. We always wind up where we're supposed to go. America is a great country. We will not play second place to anybody.
This question is for you. You've been very polite in inviting your opponent to attend your town hall meeting.
Yeah, he never invites me anymore.
And
we've had about 1,800, various events around the district. So.
Well, I'll follow you around if you invite me. And once again, you're operating directly to my point. He's taken up about 70% of your time. So my question is, are you going to send him a bill for the facility and add to it?
I'll be happy to split it. Our campaigns will split it.
And add a penalty for rudeness?
Oh, that's not. Who was our lunch over here?
I'd like to ask you, Mr. Renacci, when you talked about George W. Bush era tax cuts, and you mentioned 2001, 2003, I'd like to know from that time till President Obama took office, how many jobs were created with those tax cuts? And if there aren't any, why would you want to continue that practice?
When we have a country that is in the type of downfall it is today with jobs and job losses, you cannot tax the people who are going to create jobs. You've got to give them the ability to create jobs. We have a country right now that unemployment is growing very rapidly, as we hear. Now, we might hear that we created 51,000 jobs, but the total loss of jobs was much more in excess of that. And what we need to do, if you're going to take dollars away, this is not the time to do it. The people who create jobs need those dollars. Look, we're already stuck with healthcare. We're already stuck with 18, 25, 35% increases in healthcare. We're already stuck with the banking industry that's having difficulties lending out money. And now you want to shrink and take away from this guy here or myself by not allowing those taxes. It's a tax increase. So the answer to your question is, you don't want to take away the dollars from the people who employ people.
My question was how many jobs were created with the Bush era tax cuts for the very wealthy, the 1 or 2% at the top, and why, if none have been created, why would you want to continue with those programs? That was my basic question. I need an answer.
Well, it's a simple answer. Why would you take dollars away today when the economy and unemployment is increasing? I can't get any more simple.
How many jobs were created? That's what I want to know.
I don't have that number. You're asking for a number over there. I'm telling you.
Created 4 and lost 5.
Were any created, I guess, with those tax cuts?
Oh, absolutely.
Because all I've seen is information that tells me that jobs were lost and lost and lost and lost and lost over all those years, especially the most important jobs, the manufacturing jobs that pay a good wage and create a good tax base so that we have our public services and we can afford fire, police protection, sanitation, all the things that come with that. I didn't see anything during those years that helped that situation, made those jobs, and helped create that tax base that we desperately need, because the government's broke, the federal government's broke, the state government's broke, the city governments are broke, everything's broke, because you need a strong tax base, and you need these manufacturing jobs that are going to make that tax base pay a living wage so that people can get through life and pay their taxes, their fair share, which I do, which probably everybody in this room does. I'm not doubting that one bit, but we need more of them, and we need something to create that, and those tax cuts for the super rich do not do.
I'm a small business owner. I will tell you this: there is absolutely no way if you take and add cost to my business where I can't add employees right now, and you add healthcare costs, 48, 38%, I can't add any more jobs. Small business owners in this room will tell you that they need those tax cuts to be able to continue to stay status quo, and then we need other opportunities so that the small business owner, who actually employs 67% of the people in this country, so that they can sort of continue to grow and add employees.
72% reliable. Small businesses, 72%. But
I think Mr. Boccieri agrees with me.
can I hold this mic for just a question?
The fact is that we have lost thousands, millions of jobs since 2000. Manufacturing jobs. I just heard about the statistic where we find, those families who are working at Hoover, who are working at Hercules plant, who are working, at Rubbermaid in this congressional district. We see the net effect that has had. Job losses, families who are struggling. And while my opponent can look folks in the face here and say that, if you've lost your home, if you've lost your car, it's your problem. We didn't cut enough in the federal government. That's a fundamental difference. I think that we have a responsibility in the United States government to make sure that we take care of and we invest in our families, And he's made a couple of swipes about health care. My friends, I have an article here right here. In 2004, our Secretary of Health and Human Services, Tommy Thompson, flew to Iraq with billion-dollar checks in hand to make sure that every man, woman, and child in Iraq had universal health care coverage, thanks to the American people. So when Iraqis can see their doctor anytime they want, Mr. Renacci says, you don't have health care insurance, it's your problem, it's your fault. I just have one question, Mr. Renacci. Why don't you want the American people to enjoy the very same health care that you would enjoy as a member of Congress? Why do you not want to give the American people the very same health care that the people of this country would enjoy as a member of Congress? Let me tell you folks, these insurance companies are behaving like credit card companies. Aren't they? They're raising rates on our small businesses. They're behaving like credit card companies. If you want to put the insurance companies back in charge, you know, that's the answer. That's the answer. Put the insurance companies back in charge. That's the answer. Yeah, I do as a matter of fact.
Robert, but, you know, again, Mr. Boccieri always likes to throw the barbs. And what he has to say, I've always believed in the safety net. So when he says those things, he's absolutely wrong. I believe in that safety net. But I also believe in fiscal responsibility. And I believe we have a problem when the government is spending the dollars it's spending today, and the clock. If we had, you know, what I should have had was a dead clock up here so Mr. Boccieri could see it as it continues to burn away.
I see it every day.
And
Facebook, the dead that George W. Bush left us.
This is another great talking point, because what you're hearing tonight are all the talking points. If we gotta keep looking back at George Bush, we got problems.